Alright guys, welcome back to Unlockable Character. We got Harrison.
Hello.
What's up, bro? How are you, dude? Good to see you, old friend. He's coming up in his 3rd year at SoundCloud, where he has the merchandise division up and running for artists. So we're just talking about, it took SoundCloud quite a long time to come around to the idea, but it takes someone driven like Harrison to pitch the idea, have a good connection.
Driven and crazy enough.
And crazy, yeah. And relentless enough to get it through to the finish line. So many probably unexpected headaches come up, you know what I mean, that
Absolutely.
you weren't expecting. But you might see some tracks here on the other side that I laid down.
Oh, really?
Bro, I was like, damn, I'm gonna smell like
Every
tire
time
coming
I
to your
drive
house.
by it, there it is. I'm gonna know who did that. No, but I mean, the store is awesome. I would say the biggest thing that, yeah, as we were talking a little bit off camera, my former mentor in SoundCloud had a mentality that everything in life is step by step.
Yeah.
You know, it's the little mundane tasks that compound over time to lead to something. And so that was an incredible environment to get to work in at the time when we were first building the store.
Yeah,
Because there was no pressure.
that's true.
When we started, we had no money, no budget, no engineering resources. Just used a free Shopify theme to throw everything together. Had a buddy in Atlanta that printed merch, and we plugged it in. And it was very tedious and very manual in the beginning, but step by step proved results, and we got to scale it and turn it into the incredible experience it is today. And we have, you know.
Did you start with a certain artist, or
So
how did you go about finding the right?
When we first did the merch, we did some internal stuff for employees.
Right.
And it was all made to order.
Yeah.
That was in December of last year, or 23, December of 23. And it went really well. It was kind of a nightmare shipping everything out. You know, people would wait a month or 2 to receive their merch.
Right.
But we didn't want to give up. And
True.
I have a lot of history working with artists on the creative side, and I always recall throughout like high school and college, a big pain point for these artists that I worked with was merchandise. You know, you may not have the capital to meet an MOQ for an inventory order,
Right.
or you might buy too much merch
Yeah.
and, you know, have boxes sitting around your house, which I personally still have boxes of merch
Right.
from years ago. So
It happens.
I really wanted to try and tie in flexibility and let artists benefit off of the scale of our store. And so the first test we ran was in, I believe, April or May of this past year, 2024, with a DJ duo called No Thanks.
Okay.
They're
Are they based in the U.S.?
They're based in the U.S. now. They're from Canada.
Okay.
And they actually met on SoundCloud. They were both independent artists making music, and
It's a great story.
DMing each other music, and formed a group. And now they're really successful and playing a lot of like college markets, and they're touring. And they had never dropped merch before. And so I was like, guys, I'm gonna be super transparent with you. This will be a really rough experience.
Yeah.
But I will help you make merch. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be flawless. There's going to be bumps in the road. But will you let me try this? And they were like, sure. They sent me the time. We dropped it. And there were hiccups. You know, we had some issues with fulfillment because at the time everything was still manual.
Made to order,
we didn't have our incredible partners that we do now in Ohio and Florida. But we dropped the merch. They ended up selling 69 t-shirts, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for them it was incredible. It was their first time dropping merch. They made, I think, a little over $3,000.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so
On their first drop.
yeah, they were super excited, and I really brought that back to the team, and we're like, it was so obvious, you know.
But it was the right direction.
Yeah, artists aren't earning what they used to through streaming anymore.
Right.
There's immense pressure from labels and other partners.
You have direct access to them, so it's not like you're a middleman separated from them. If you wanted to jazz it up and do a limited run with signatures or something like that, you have access.
Yeah, so, I mean, right now, the state of the store has obviously changed. We get a lot more inbound now from partners. So our artist relations team and our industry relations team do a great job of pitching management companies and labels each and every week. The programs that we have internally, the Artist Merch program is one of them.
Hell yeah.
So every day it's like Christmas. I get a new email. This artist is interested. This artist is interested.
Yeah.
And so we get to have a lot of fun with it.
Should have gone there, but it's all good.
Yeah. And then the one thing I really love about it is we get to target smaller, emerging, like ascending artists. So we're not just working with label artists. I have a submission form that artists can go to and apply to participate. And each week I'll go through and pick out a few artists that I want to work with, and they get to participate in the same program.
Do you work with like a data team to identify like emerging artists who
Yep,
are getting
so-
certain followers or plays, things like that?
We do have an incredible data team that I work with. They built me, they're kind enough to build me a dashboard where I can see emerging ascending artists. each
Sweet.
week.
Yeah.
But also just, we have the form where anyone can submit. And, you know, each week I try and work with at least one off of that form. And honestly, it's surprising. Sometimes they sell more merch than our established major label artists.
Hell yeah. Do you want to launch this thing real quick while we're here?
Let's do it. Why not?
So
Intermission.
900 horsepower, yeah, intermission to the SoundCloud is a launch. All right. All right, back to that was good. No slip.
This is incredible.
It was on its toes.
Wow, this thing is fast.
That was actually very controlled for how violent the launch was.
Yeah, but no, so the whole goal is to help artists earn meaningful revenue outside of traditional streaming.
Yeah.
And then also help fans connect with their artists. And I think that's what's so powerful about SoundCloud is no other streaming platform can you go DM your favorite artist.
Yeah.
We have artists replying to fans in the comments of their tracks.
Right.
DMing them private tracks, you know, hey, I'm working on this song, what do you think of it?
That's
and
amazing.
So the connection is real. I mean, I even met a couple that are now married that met on SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's like a social network for sure, more than just the music.
I tell people we're not a traditional DSP, we're a social media company that's rooted in music.
So Hattie B's has 2 locations now. We're going to the OG one, better parking. It teleports, bro, right? And we're in rear-wheel drive, so the car could be plenty faster if it wanted to be. I can put it into all-wheel drive at any time. It's kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, you're doing 100 on a turn, you need some more traction, you just put it into all-wheel drive.
So, when did you get this car?
May of last year.
Really?
Yeah, so just coming up on a year.
And you said you ordered it, so
Yeah.
fully custom spec.
Fully custom
What
spec.
was that process like?
That was just having a good relationship with the dealer because this is my 3rd M4.
Okay.
And M3s are actually much more in demand than M4s.
Really?
So you can't get,
You
it's
think
very hard to get.
4 doors?
Yeah, 4 doors, people in their early 30s who have families, more so weekend kind of fun car, but
Yeah.
they want to daily it. So the M4 is not selling, so I actually was able to get 6% off MSRP and the allocation.
That's crazy.
I had to eat it a little bit on the previous card on the trade-in,
Yeah.
but I was leasing that when I bought this one. So for the next car, I can roll the taxes from this one into that one. And this is used for the business, the miles, the depreciation. Like,
How long do you plan to keep it for?
the way I've set it up, I think I might keep this one and then start adding to like a collection of cars that YouTube is paying for. And I'm very transparent with my audience. Like, YouTube went from $100 a month last March
Yeah.
to $3,500 a month.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm just about to hit
that
50K
covers
subs.
rent.
It covers rent, the car, and insurance. Like,
That's incredible.
and then I'm making more than I ever have in my real job, you know, as a director of AI. And the experience there is so valuable that it can carry over anywhere.
This vehicle is an investment, essentially.
In some ways, you know, it's still a car. I tell everyone you have to get gap coverage on your financial contract, which is, if in case anything happens, the coverage will pay off the remainder of the loan, regardless of your insurance coverage. You know what I mean? It's usually like $1,000. So people just don't skimp out on that, because you never know. If you're gonna drive the car hard, you know what I mean?
So, have you tracked it yet?
Yeah, I took it to a private track in Tennessee called Polecat with GT3 RSs, GT3s. It was a ton of fun. It handled. It wasn't tuned at the time, so it was stock power level, like 500 horsepower. Now it's 900.
So what else have you done to it besides the tune?
We are on.
You have an exhaust.
Yeah. So mid pipe, the car has from the factory catalytic converters in the downpipes, and the mid pipe. It has from the factory 2 mid pipes, basically equal length going out each side. I have a single mid pipe with no cats. I also have the largest downpipes that you can buy without cats, and then I have the factory muffler with the factory valves, so we can completely turn the car into like quiet silent mode.
That's incredible.
And it's really Jekyll and Hyde that way by keeping the factory muffler. And then this is a valve controller. It plugs into the factory muffler. OEM, it'll never fully open and close, but with the aftermarket part, you can fully open it with my garage door button and close it. So it gives you a good way to be in like stealth mode if a cop is coming up or something like that, you know what I mean? Or cold start in the morning, don't want to upset anyone, you can just keep the valves closed.
That's incredible. Well, how's your day job going?
Super well. Just released an AI resume formatter. So we have a professional, I'm part of a professional staffing and recruiting company.
Okay.
And the recruiters spend so much time on these ridiculous resumes that come in for highly professional, experienced people that just have like 5 pages, the most crazy format, and we all have to we have to standardize it into our format for our company. You know what I mean? And so what ends up happening is they spend maybe an hour per resume, and they have to submit like 5 to 7 a week.
Wow.
So I'm saving them 5-7 hours per recruiter per week for a service that costs about $50 a month without buying something from an external vendor in like the 4 or 5 digits per month.
That's incredible.
Kind of time frame. Yeah, and the fact that we can build something like that internally now would not have been possible a year before. Yeah. You know, at the quality it is. And you think about GTA 6 coming out in 2026, right? Yep. That game is going to be a platform, and it's probably going to last for 10 years at least. Absolutely. At least. And by the end of those 10 years, individuals like you and I would probably be able to prompt a computer to create a game at 80% of that fidelity. Like by ourselves at the end of GTA 6's like reign.
That is insane.
User-generated content now is a buzzword in social media for advertising.
Well, it's
you know,
same on SoundCloud.
Right. Is it? Oh, for user-generated content? Yeah.
The largest portion of our catalog is user-generated content manually uploaded.
Interesting.
Yeah. So obviously we catalog, distributed from major labels, indie labels, but UGC on SoundCloud is what our bread and butter is, and I think that's why people love it. You know, you get the long-form DJ mixes.
That's true.
Get the leaks.
The comments on the timeline of the actual track is just such a game changer, right?
Absolutely. Like, and we're doing a lot of work on our product team to make that experience more immersive. We want people to really be involved in the comments.
The emotional aspect of it, if you think about that wavelength pattern, that's the nostalgia for me. You know what I mean? If there's SoundCloud,
we're working to animate it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Coming to life.
So SoundCloud merchandise, not for artists. Also, you could tie in artists, but like if I wanted to send a track to a girl and it became special over time because that's how we like connected on a song, and I commented at a certain like timestamp in the wavelength, like what if I was able to buy a shirt with that timestamp in the wavelength, like, you know what I mean? All that just goes into it, right? It's so much of that. Well, just the emotional aspect of it, I think, is untapped.
You asked a little bit about data. One really exciting use case of data recently, Billie Eilish had her album come out last spring. This was in May, and Billie Eilish started her career on SoundCloud. Her first release was on SoundCloud. So we wanted to do something special and reward her day one fans on SoundCloud. So thanks to the power of data, we were able to identify
who they were.
The first 50 people to ever listen to Ocean Eyes back in 2013.
That is amazing.
We put them on a landing page, so they were spotlighted in Billie's story. We had an interactive timeline from bedroom to billboards to Grammys. The fans were immersed in the experience, and they got exclusive merchandise.
That's amazing.
For being a day one.
That monitoring aspect of the data and to come back to it later. Yeah. To tell a story. What a great story.
And to take that a step further, we actually recently launched a feature called First and Top Fans. So now if you look at tracks on web, you'll be able to see like the first 3 fans to listen to that song and like the top 3 fans with the most plays on that song.
That's amazing.
So we want to bring the engagement full circle. We want to close the loop, and we want fans to be recognized for their fandom, which is I don't think something that truly exists.
YouTube's not even doing that.
Twitch has done a decent job at it, but it's been too commoditized. You're paying subscribers. We want more opportunities to fans to connect without necessarily having to spend money, unless they want to truly support the
Does
artists.
SoundCloud offer, like, for DJs playing like a live set, to like use SoundCloud as the platform?
So like
just audio wise,
in general?
yeah, just audio live streaming, like if you wanted to play a set or something.
We actually just did our first video live stream of a concert that was a few months ago. We're experimenting with live streaming, but we're a very small
I'm still
team.
experimenting with live streaming, dude. Like, I think
people don't realize how small SoundCloud is.
Right, right.
450 of us.
Because it's been around for so long. 17
years, yeah. We're an overgrown, old startup. That's what it feels like. So how'd you land at this current company?
I honestly was able to get a referral from a good friend on LinkedIn, and that's most of the time how you're going to get good jobs, you know what I mean?
I think your greatest strength, at least the first that comes to mind, is your just ability to connect with people and relate to people.
I think so.
I think you're really good at like mirroring energy. Like, and it's authentic though. It's not fake, which is I think something a lot of people get wrong.
Oh yeah, that's true. Some people, especially in Atlanta, when you try to mirror their energy and you're trying to be positive, they don't know how to read the situation.
Yeah.
And they'll come at you like, oh, he must be like an op in disguise or something like that. You know what I mean?
But people love to talk about themselves, and like me, I just rambled for the past 10 minutes.
Sure.
You're great at getting people to talk and building that connection. So I 1000% agree with you. It's maybe a sad reality, but getting a job in today's climate is all about relationships.
Oh yeah. How did you make that person feel, or what first impression of you did they have?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also, I mean, this is such a famous quote, but no one remembers what you said, but they remember how you made them feel.
Yep.
So don't get caught up in the words. Just be yourself,
also,
be authentic.
if you're focused on what you're doing, and you meet people along the way, the focus on what you're doing is going to give them a good impression. Absolutely. Not your focus on them to try to make a good impression. Like, it's just kind of a way to just tap into like the motion of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm so fascinated. What has it been like growing this channel? Because
consistency, really, and the difference is taking the time to frame the shot so that it's a perfect angle without too much of this. You know what I mean? The quality of doing like 4K, HDR. You know, being consistent in going from once every few weeks to 3 times a week to once a day. Like, people really resonated with that. And then
when your current schedule is once a day?
Once a day. And what happens is YouTube will, you know, showcase your videos to an audience, and on a certain time and date, if it hits, it hits. So if you're putting out volume, what ends up happening is one of the videos will hit, you know, 6 figures in views very quickly, and that carries, it snowballs. And when you're building a library of videos, they all snowball over time, and sometimes old ones get picked up. So volume is super important, but can you maintain your quality as you're putting out the volume? That's the thing.
Do you ever think you'll get to a point once you have the audience where you'll transition from a high release schedule to a lower, more concise release schedule?
Yeah, I think so. When YouTube becomes the primary income, it's actually time
You'll
to
spend more time on
like the story production, and having multiple vehicles and the organization behind the scenes of all of it, really.
Absolutely.
I really want to build a racetrack in Wyoming and a house, and then just have people come over when they want.
Yeah. And audience-wise, this is one thing I hear a lot on the music side, and I'm curious if it carries over and it's applicable to the YouTube creator space. would you say that it is hard to build a fan base? You know, a lot of people say it's easy to get impressions, it's easy for a video to go viral, but retaining those fans and building that fan base,
Yeah.
a returning audience.
Oh yeah.
Is that difficult?
It is difficult because you have to be yourself, and through being yourself you're going to be different.
Yeah.
And then you channel out all the negative comments and energy are going to come. YouTube actually has a filter for like insensitive comments, and you have no business going into that filter and showing the comments to yourself of people that are just hating on you. You basically need to put in so much volume that your personality comes across in the work, and then you disregard any negative, you know, people trying to bring you down. Because if you see the celebrations of people supporting you and they're actually catching on to little mannerisms you might have, that is going to build the audience picking up on who you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you gotten a chance to meet anyone that...
Oh yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like every day now in Atlanta, in events, like driving by, like people recognize me in the car. And so now the transition is to recognize me as a person more than just the car, and then everything that's going to come with it. That is an interesting transition that I'm going to take from the 50K to 100K mark, which is vlogging style content, lifestyle content now, not just the car.
That's
you know?
incredible. And you have, you know, you're successful in business outside of the creator space.
Right.
I think for me, one key to success is always setting a goal, having like an actual date that you want to hit that goal.
Right.
Do you have a date for when you expect to hit a certain subscriber threshold?
I would say...
Have you actually written down those goals?
Yeah, the 100K was by the end of this year. That was the goal. And then I need to think further past that in terms of like analytics, like views. Meta just invited me to their content monetization program.
That's awesome.
With an initial breakthrough bonus, because some of the reels were having millions of views. And so I know now more than ever that the people that I know, the events I have access to, the locations I have access to, take full advantage of them, but still bring that positive, authentic energy, not bring that scheming, like, how do I make the most out of the situation for myself? Yeah. I just take chances when I see them, knowing that that's the right chance, like that's the right moment, not just forcing it, you know what I mean? That's like a level of mastery that people have to learn, because you're balancing the scales of what's permissible and like what you need to do in that moment to get what you're looking for, you know what I mean? Like to get it.
Absolutely. I'm curious, what is the YouTube audience like more, the car or you talking?
Honestly, it's a bit of both. The wisdom, the stories. I'm pretty authentic and honest. Like I don't mind talking truth to power, and people are there for that too. Like they want the real take on what's going on in the world, not the fake news, you know? And what people don't understand is all of our stories are unique. We've learned so much along the way, and there's people like us who want to get to that next step in their life, and you can be that big brother for them, or you know, big sibling, older sibling.
Speaking of big brother, as you know, Bennett's going to college.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Last night we were working on his speech for graduation, and there was again, his speech is about success, how fitting for our conversation.
True.
And he was talking about how there's like 3 key pillars that success rests on. And number 1 was embrace failure. But not only just embrace failure, but to recognize that failure is a learning experience.
Yeah.
And the rate at which you fail is the rate at which you learn, which means the rate at which you succeed. That's why SpaceX celebrates when a rocket explodes, because they know every rocket they blow up, they're one step closer to the rocket not blowing up.
That's true.
So the whole point is to embrace and endure failure, because it makes you a better person. You learn from the experience. So like, what's the point of not asking the girl out or not applying for the job,
yeah.
sending the cold email?
I mean,
cliche,
honestly, like I remember every risk I took, even if it didn't work out, because of how much I grew from that point. You know what I mean? And looking back now, like, had I not started things and fell quickly and adapted, like shifted how things were working, like you have to react, you have to adapt, right?
I mean, think about how many people are watching this video right now,
right,
that want to start their own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And maybe they are too afraid to. They don't know what people are gonna think.
Yeah.
Or
people are afraid of their voice sometimes.
yeah,
You know.
Or maybe they don't have the time. That would be a massive burden for me, is finding the time.
Oh yeah.
Filming out the content. But the truth is, it's not actually that time consuming. You can find the hours in the day to put in the work if you really want to.
You have to find the energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what happens is when you start doing it and get good at it, your energy, you're not going to spend as much energy, and it's going to be probably more fun for you than before.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get this like this.
We got an audience.
I'm gonna see. I don't think we're allowed to go on the other way, but it's all good. I'll just park in that spot. Compact it is.
Compacts, let's go.
All right.
Let's hit it. USB is out tonight.
Oh my God. I swear that's shooting flames. It just sounds so wet. Going to all-wheel drive.
Watch out for GSP.
Okay, good idea. Let's fly by them.
Yeah.
Doing 150. Helicopter comes out. We'll park it at your house. No problem. They'll be like, they would never expect such a thing.
My dad answers the door. Not my mom.
Yeah.
Hello, officer. Yeah, it looks like they're on this side. I don't see them.
Sounds good, right? It's like playing an instrument. Should be able to see him on this lane. Say it was hidden, huh?
He's on the bridge, I think.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck. If you want to take it through Buckhead, we can get off on this exit and ride down West Bases.
All right, let's see it.
And then we can go by the park. Take
You
a
let
left to
me
this
go
side.
left.
Yeah.
Car has no lights on.
You're gonna take a right in the next lane. Oh my god.
Do you feel how jerky that is? That's ridiculous. He just wants to go. This right?
Yeah. That sounds insane. That's crazy. Oh my god. Oh, there's GSP.
Too bad.
Too late. Snoozy lose. He's getting on the interstate. Oh, he's gonna sit right on that on-ramp like that.
Probably, yeah. Should be careful on the way back.
You know, GSP's post is on this road.
Is it? That makes
They
sense.
built it into the governor's mansion. Well, it's governor's mansion and then a GSP post. And so all the GSP in Buckhead come from the posting.
Oh, I'm gonna look at it.